What's going on, bottom line viewers and basketball fans around the world? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly Vanilli. Dilly is going to be the host of this show. I just want to give the quick introduction and just say we're going to do our March Madness bracket live right now. We're going to do it live. And guys, I just want to say this because I don't know if Dylan's going to say this, but we're just casual NCAA basketball fans. I don't want you in the comments, saying all the analytics and stuff, all right? We're just casual fans here. Sure, we did a little bit of research. We know a little bit about the teams, and we know about basketball, but we don't know what, one player ate for breakfast like 2 weeks ago. So that's all I want to say, before I kick it off to Dilly Vanilli. Dilly, take it away, bro.
Yes, I'm going to preface what Mitch said. We're NBA, we know a little bit more. We watch a little bit more of the things here, but it's March Madness. Everybody gets on March Madness. So we're here to make a bracket. We're going to make two brackets, one for myself first, and then Mitch will make his own bracket. We're going to screen share, so you'll see the whole bracket. You'll see what's going down, who's going to be our picks, who we have for upsets, all that kind of jazz. So stay tuned. One of us is probably going to be 100%, right? But we'll see how it goes. I'm sorry.
Not Dylan.
Totally me. A&M's going to win. I'm just kidding. But, we're probably not going to be 100%, and we're casual viewers. So we're just basically basing on what we've seen in the regular season, in the Big Ten and Pac-12 championships, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with our picks.
All right, so I'm going to go over to the screen share. Let's do this.
All right, we're going on ESPN's bracket. So if you want to follow along, maybe go along with us. You can see 5 different faces of me. We're going to start off on the east side, so it's the left side of Mitch's screen to start off. So first off, we have the number 1 seed Villanova versus 16 seed. It's going to be decided tomorrow. I don't exactly know what two teams there are, but no 1 seed has ever lost to a 16 seed. We're going to have Villanova win that first game right there.
I think that's bold, Dylan. I don't know if you want to go like that, bro.
Man, that 16 seed's killing me, man. I don't know. But no joke, no 16 seed has ever beat a 1 seed, so not going to happen this year. Number 8 seed Wisconsin versus number 9 seed Virginia Tech. There's some good things about both teams. Wisconsin's had a couple of good wins. They've beaten Minnesota, beaten Maryland by 11. Virginia Tech has beaten Duke. So there's a couple of teams that both of these teams have beaten that are qualified as good or classified as good. I'm going to go with Wisconsin. I've got more in them to believe that Wisconsin's going to win. They were in the Big Ten championship. So I got a feeling that they possibly could do something, at least in the first round. So Wisconsin over Virginia Tech. Next up, we have Virginia versus 12th seed UNC Wilmington. I've seen some good things out of Virginia this year. I think they're quite underrated. And even though they're 6-6 in the last 12 games, they've done some good stuff to provide me with a little bit of hope. So we're going with Virginia on this pick. Next up, we have number 4 seed Florida versus number 13 seed ETSU. I don't even know what ETSU is. So based on that, there you go. There's my casual viewing shift right there. Based on that, I'm going to go with Florida. Florida's actually played some pretty good basketball. They have a win over Kentucky this year, a couple wins against Arkansas. They only lost by 5 to Gonzaga, which we'll probably get to a little bit later on. But ETSU has not done very much, so we're just going to go with that. Number 6 seed SMU versus a number 11 seed is going to be between, I don't know, I forgot the 11 seed.
I think it's Providence and somebody else. South Carolina, maybe? No,
South Carolina's later on.
Yeah.
SC. We'll call them SC.
Isn't USC?
Is it?
I think it's USC. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, now that I remember, I think it's USC.
Okay. So between those two, I still have a little bit more hope in the side of SMU. They were quite underrated last year and this year. I'm going to go with SMU over the 11 seed here. Number 3 seed Baylor versus number 14 seed New Mexico State. Last year we saw a huge upset with Baylor eliminated in the first round. I believe in the exact same spot they were this year. However, I've got more confidence in them to at least make it through the first round, so we're going Baylor.
Where are the upsets?
Oh, we're going to get some upset, all right?
We have no upsets here, Dylan.
Number
What's going
7
on?
seed South Carolina versus number 10 Marquette. If Mitch had let me finish, Marquette is going to win over South Carolina. Even though these guys are heavily contested, they're both 6-6 in the last 12 games. I've seen some good wins for Marquette. They beat Villanova earlier on in the season. They've beaten Creighton. They've beaten a couple of teams. So, in my opinion, I think Marquette's the better team over South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, for the East side, we got Duke versus Troy. You already know who it is. Duke is going to move on.
I was really certain you were going to go with Troy there.
Troy is very talented. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're going to go scroll down here. We're going to go to the West side next. Gonzaga versus 16 seed South Dakota State. Yes, Gonzaga is going to move on. Yeah, you didn't even have to wait for it. Number 8 seed Northwestern versus number 9 seed Vanderbilt. Northwestern's first time in the tourney. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
However, they're not going to move on very far. Vanderbilt will move on against Gonzaga. Number 5 seed Notre Dame versus number 12 seed Princeton. Notre Dame's very shaky. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in the entire tournament. However, they will move on against 12 seed Princeton, which is weird. We always see like a 12 seed upset, but we're going to go with Notre Dame here.
I'm telling you, bro, Notre Dame has too many white guys. I'm telling you that right now.
That's key, the white guys. West Virginia versus Bucknell. I'm sorry, Bucknell. I don't know if you're in the back country or somewhere, but West Virginia will move on for the Big 12. Number 6, Maryland versus number 11, Xavier. Xavier coming into this year was very looked at as somewhere in the Big East where they could do something. However, they disappointed quite a bit. So I'm going to go with Maryland on this pick here. Number 3 seed Florida State versus 14 seed Florida Gulf Coast. If you remember Florida Gulf Coast from a few years ago, they made a Cinderella run to the Sweet 16. That ain't going to happen this year. We got FSU moving on. Number 7 seed St. Mary's versus number 10 seed VCU. How does VCU every single year get in this upset situation? We're going with VCU on this pick. They know how to shake up the game, even though their head coach Shaka Smart is going over to Texas. They still know how to do some things in this tournament. And then finally, 2 seed Arizona versus 15 seed North Dakota. We're going with Arizona on this. One of the teams,
the Wildcats.
The Wildcats. They could be shaking up the tournament. We'll go a little bit in depth later on with them.
Dylan, can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
Let's look at these sponsored headlines for a second. Why do we have Brock Osweiler?
Oh, big name players, my ass.
Kaepernick beside him. Like, what is going on here?
One's a goat and one's just ugh.
Let's go back up to the Midwest.
All right, Midwest time. Kansas. Just Kansas.
That's it? Okay.
Just Kansas. That's all I'm going to put. Number 8 seed Miami versus number 9 seed Michigan State. Miami's been quite underrated. They played some good games this season. 7-5 in their last 12 games. Michigan State's very shaky, in my opinion. We're going with Miami on this one. Iowa State versus Nevada, 5-12 seed once again. However, there's not going to be an upset. Iowa State winning the Big 12 championship, maybe in due part to the fact that Kansas didn't even make it to that part. They didn't make it past the quarterfinal, but Iowa State's the better team. Number 4 seed Purdue versus number 13 Vermont. Purdue is a good team. I like what they're doing. They're very consistent. They're very fast-paced. I'm going with Purdue. Now, here's an upset for you. Number 6 Creighton versus 11 seed Rhode Island. Rhode Island is beating the 6 seed Creighton. I have not liked what I've seen out of Creighton this year. Rhode Island, they just won their championship. Creighton's shaky. They don't have enough talent, in my opinion. The backcourt, everything aside, I'm going with Rhode Island. Number 3 seed Oregon versus number 14 Iona. No upset. It's going to be Oregon on this one.
The Ducks, eh?
Now we got one of Mitch's favorite teams, 7 seed Michigan versus 10 seed Oklahoma State. Michigan has been inconsistent, but they did win the Big Ten championship. I don't know how, but they did do some good things. So I'm going with Michigan on this one.
Good pick.
Finish out our Midwest. 2 seed Louisville versus 15 seed Jacksonville State. No question. He already picked it, Louisville. All right, we're going to go scroll down here for our final of the 64 teams. We got number 1 seed UNC versus 16 seed Texas Southern. You know, I'm from Texas. I'm a Southern boy, but it ain't going to be.
Take him, Dilly. Do it.
No, I'm trying to get number 1 picks here. We got to go with UNC. No doubt about it. Number 8 seed Arkansas versus 9 seed Seton Hall. Always been a big fan of Seton Hall, and even though Arkansas has done some good things, I like what I've seen out of Seton Hall. So Seton Hall is going to get my upset here. I guess it's 1 seed.
Not really an upset.
Not really an upset, but maybe kind of. We'll see. They've had some close games against some of the bigger teams in the tournament, so there you go. Number 5 seed Minnesota versus 12 Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee did some things last year, but it ain't going to happen. Minnesota is moving on. Number 4 seed Butler versus 13th Winthrop. Winthrop? I don't even know. Winthrop. I think that's how you say that. Based on my pronunciation, you already know who I'm going for. I'm going for Butler. They've done a couple of good things. They beat Villanova twice, Arizona by 4. So there's some pretty good wins on their record right there. Number 6 seed Cincinnati versus 11 seed to be determined. I'm pretty sure one of them is Kansas State. I'm going to go with Cincinnati on this one. They played some good basketball. Number 3 seed UCLA versus 14 seed Kent State. Lonzo Ball, I trust you. 3 seed UCLA is moving on. Number 7 seed Dayton versus number 10 Wichita State. Those Shockers always know how to put up some kind of game throughout this tournament, so I'm going with the Wichita State Shockers. And finally, to end our round of 64, Kentucky versus Northern Kentucky. It depends on where in Kentucky you want to be at, but I'm going to go with the Wildcats, those Kentucky team. They are very talented.
I like the little rivalry in the first round. That's pretty good right there.
It's very interesting. So now,
all right, where do we want to start? We want to start back at the top?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the top. Round of 32 time. Number 1 seed Villanova versus number 8 seed Wisconsin. I do like Wisconsin, but again, the inconsistency with these lower teams, it ain't going to work, especially in the round of 32. Villanova, who's played really good basketball with the second best player in the league, will move on. Number 5 seed Virginia versus number 4 seed Florida. I'm going with a little bit of an upset here. I'm going with Virginia.
Ooh.
Going with Virginia. Now, people are going to say Florida's the better basketball team. They might be, but I've seen Virginia pull out some quality wins this season, and I think they could shake up some things in this tournament. So that's where I'm going to put them out right there.
How could you go against Tim Tebow's boys?
As everybody knows, I'm not a big Tim Tebow fan. That's beside the point.
All right. We continue on.
Number 6 seed SMU versus number 3 seed Baylor. 2 Texas teams. Interesting. However, I'm going to pick SMU to move on. Baylor, very inconsistent in these playoffs, or this is kind of the playoffs, the March Madness tournament. And even though I said that they should get the benefit of the doubt in their first round, it ain't going to work in the second round. So upset for SMU. Marquette versus Duke, 10-2. 2 seeds don't normally lose to 10 seeds, and Duke has been a pretty good team overall this season. So I'm going to go with Duke on this one. All right, scrolling down here back to the west side, we got Gonzaga versus West Virginia. Gonzaga versus Vanderbilt. My bad. I was looking at the Sweet 16. Gonzaga versus Vanderbilt.
So I think we already know who's going to win, Dylan. Should I just click them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Gonzaga and West Virginia. There you go. Pretty self-explanatory. I like Gonzaga. They're a pretty good team. They're well balanced, and they know how to win the season. They've only had 1 loss. As for West Virginia, I just think Notre Dame's very inconsistent. That's the reason I'm going with West Virginia over Notre Dame. 6 seed Maryland versus 3 seed Florida State. Who expected Florida State to come this far? I don't know, but they're going to make at least the Sweet 16 with this appearance. So they're beating Maryland here. And VCU versus Arizona. I like VCU quite a bit. Arizona's got a really talented basketball team that's very underrated, so they're going to win this game.
all right.
Going back up there to the right side of the bracket, Midwest, Kansas versus Miami. I got to pick Kansas here. I like Miami, but at this stage, you're going to have all the talent, all the backcourts needed, and Miami just doesn't have enough depth to make it happen. Iowa State versus Purdue. Going with a little bit of a shocker, I'm picking Iowa State. I think they're one of the more underrated teams in the tournament, and I think they're going to do some stuff here. Rhode Island versus Oregon. I'm sorry, Rhode Island. The Cinderella run will not get past the second round. We're going with Oregon.
Boo.
Ooh. But I think this could be a shocker here. 7 seed Michigan versus number 2 Louisville. I'm going with the Wolverines.
Let's go.
Going with Michigan. I like this team. I think they can do some good things in the tournament. They're going to shock some people. All right, going down to the South bracket. We got UNC versus Seton Hall. I'm going to go ahead and go with UNC. Sorry, Seton Hall. UNC is just a better team. Number 5 seed Minnesota versus number 4 seed Butler. Butler's had some quality wins this season, but I like what Minnesota's doing in the last stretch. I'm going with Minnesota, a little bit of a shocker. Number 6 seed Cincinnati versus number 3 UCLA. I like what UCLA is doing. I think they're one of the most explosive teams in the league or in NCAA. I'm going with UCLA. And finally, we have Wichita State versus Kentucky. I got to go with Kentucky, the better team overall. So here's our Sweet 16 set up, ready to go. If everybody wants to put their brackets in, go exactly like me. That's fine.
No, don't.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. Number 1, Villanova versus number 5, Virginia. Virginia's luck has just run out. Villanova, the better team, is moving on to the Elite 8. Number 6 seed number 6 seed SMU versus number 2 seed Duke. Duke, love them or hate them, are still very good, especially in this tournament. They got one of the best coaches of all time, Coach K. Going to be Duke. Moving on. Do we want to go that side? Okay.
Whatever you want.
Let's scroll down because it's just easier on my bracket.
Okay.
We got Gonzaga versus West Virginia. Surprisingly enough, I'm not going with West Virginia. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. They're very good. That's a weird explanation. And then we have...
Very simple, Dilly.
Very simple, yet effective. FSU versus Arizona. I really, really like what Arizona has done in the span of the season. I'm going with Arizona. All right, we're going up here to UNC.
Okay, what do you want?
Just scroll up. Yeah, there you go. UNC versus Minnesota. Sorry, I like Minnesota, but UNC is going to get the victory. They're one of the better teams in the country. This is an interesting matchup. Number 3 UCLA versus number 2 Kentucky. I really like that matchup. However, I'm going to go with UCLA in this pick. So there's your setup there. And then here we have, I got to scroll to my
Kansas and Iowa State.
Kansas and Iowa State. Now I'm going with a huge shocker for people in this next couple of picks.
Ooh.
I'm picking Iowa State to beat Kansas. I think Iowa State has some quality victories this season.
I don't know.
I think they do. I mean, look, they've beaten Kansas already before this season. They've beaten Baylor. They've lost to Gonzaga by 2 points. They've got a couple of good victories this season, and I just like that. I like that court. I like that front right there. So that's what I'm picking there. Number 3 seed Oregon versus number 7 Michigan. Who am I picking? I'm going with the Wolverines, baby. A shocker. I'm going with a shocker in the Elite 8, which is weird, but it has to be done in order for these brackets to work. So there's your setup for the Elite 8. We'll just scroll down and I'll show you everybody. So we got Villanova versus Duke, Iowa State versus Michigan. Then you have Gonzaga versus Arizona and UNC versus UCLA. Let's go ahead and go scroll back to the top. We'll get our Elite 8 Final Four and National Championship. Villanova or Duke. Now, this is weird because in the last 10 years, only one team that has won the championship the year before has gotten to the Final Four the next year. So it's conflicting. However, I think Villanova is very talented. They got a lot of pieces together. I think they're going to win probably the most prolific matchup up until the national championship, going with Villanova. Then on our right side of the bracket, we have probably our most obscure one here. Iowa State versus Michigan. Michigan, your luck has just run out. We're going with the Iowa State Cyclones. I like the team. I like the group. I like the pair. I think they can make a huge impact in this tournament.
Big on Iowa.
Big on the Iowa State Cyclones. Gonzaga and Arizona, another 1 and 2 seed matchup. However, I'm not going with Gonzaga. I'm going with Arizona for the upset here. I think Arizona is very talented. I like their core group. I just like seeing the chemistry that they have together. So that's who I'm picking there. UNC or UCLA. I'm making another upset. UCLA is going to move on to the Final Four. So only one number one seed has made it in my tournament, or in the Final Four. Villanova versus Arizona first.
Bold.
It's bold, but I got to go with Villanova. I think they got the more talented group, and even though I like Arizona, I think it's just going to end right there. I think Villanova's got the grasp on that. Number 5 seed Iowa State versus number 3 UCLA. Interesting pick, but I'm going to go with UCLA. I think those guys have a lot of talent, a lot of chemistry together. I think they're going to make an impact. So here we have our national championship game. Villanova, UCLA. Villanova coming back to the national championship game. UCLA making some bold moves. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? UCLA will be your national champions. That's who I'm picking. If you want to put the tiebreaker in, I put a score of 74-68. I have no idea how those tiebreakers work. I never get them right, but that's what I'm going to put in there. UCLA will win the national championship and upset Villanova.
Wow, Dilly. Those are bold picks, bro.
Bold picks. Bold picks. But, your
right.
boy's bold. Your boy's bold.
All right, I think I got to refresh this page to get a new page in. Let's see. All right. So should I do my picks now?
Yes, you can do your picks. I'll kind of, if you want to talk about them, that's fine. But if you want me to be the host of it,
I'll talk a little bit about them. I'm just gonna go quick though.
You're gonna go.
I think you went through all the games and pretty much the same reasoning as me for most of them. So I'm gonna go Villanova in this one. Again, no 16 team is gonna be whoever it is here. They're not gonna beat Villanova. They're gonna move on. I'm going with Wisconsin. I know, one of my friends from Van Arts went to Wisconsin. Ooh. So and Wisconsin gave us James White. So I got to go with Wisconsin, bro. I'm picking an upset here. I'm going UNC, bro.
Whoa!
I'm going UNC. I believe in them. They had a Cinderella story before. I think they can do it again. I'm not a big believer in Virginia. I just don't think they've been playing as good defensively as they typically do. I'm going to go with UNC Wilmington here.
Wow, I had them in the Sweet 16. You didn't even get them past the first round. All right.
No, bro. Upset Central right here with my pick. I'm going with the Gators, bro. They gave us Tim Tebow. I have to do them justice with that. They did give us Aaron Hernandez, but I'm still going to go with Florida.
Fair enough.
SMU is, I think, the team that is on the hottest winning streak right now. I think they can do a lot of damage in this tournament. I don't care who they play, whether it's Providence or UNC or USC. I'm going with SMU here. Next one, Baylor and New Mexico State. I think this will be a very close game, actually. But at the end of the day, Baylor is the higher seed, and Baylor does scare me at times by getting upsetted when they shouldn't get upsetted. But I'm still going to go with Baylor just because they're overall the better team and have been better the entire year. And New Mexico doesn't really play the strongest schedule, so I'm going to go with Baylor. Next, South Carolina and Marquette. Again, I'm going with bias. I know a guy that goes to Marquette. I played lacrosse with them, so I'm picking Marquette, bro. Next, we have Duke versus Troy. The only Troy I know is Troy Brown. I'm going with Duke. Troy Aikman, bro. Oh, there you go. Troy Aikman. I'm trying to make a New England Patriots reference, bro. Kansas. Next, okay, I wish I could show you right now. I'm wearing my Rock shirt, so I got to go with Miami, bro. Oh. Iowa State versus Nevada. I think it's going to be a tight game. Nevada has a lot of pretty good scorers, but I'm going to go with Iowa State here. I think they're, like Dylan said, they're a good team, and I think they could go pretty far. We'll see how far they go in this tournament with me, though. Purdue and Vermont. Purdue is a team that has some pretty good big players inside. I think that Purdue will probably win this game pretty easily. I'm going to go with Rhode Island as well. I think that they might be one of these upset specials, and I think that they're just a team that plays a tougher schedule and is more battle-tested. So I'm going to go with them. Oregon, obviously, the Ducks. The Wolverines, bro. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain. The best Wolverine movie just came out. It's the Wolverines.
Oh, okay.
Louisville, Jacksonville State. Louisville. Let's go. All right, let's continue on. We'll start on the left side because I'm a left to righter. because that's how I read. So let's go Gonzaga here. I think Gonzaga has a very strong team. They're number one for a reason. And you got to represent. I'm Canadian. They always have a bunch of Canadians on the squad. You got to represent. Northwestern and Vanderbilt. I'm going to go with Northwestern. I think they're going to continue the Cinderella story. They made it for the first time. I think that has a big deal playing in this tournament. They're going to continue that momentum into the next round.
All right.
Now, Notre Dame does have a lot of white boys, but so does Princeton. I'm going Notre Dame.
That's the reason, white boys. All
West Virginia, obviously. Let's go.
He didn't even say the other. Cool. All right.
Maryland and Xavier. This one's tough. I have a feeling about Xavier.
That's gonna piss off somebody that's in our chat right now.
yeah, bro. I have a feeling about Xavier. Now I'm obviously a casual, but Xavier Woods, Xavier Rhodes, bro. Let's go.
Let's go.
Florida State. Florida State. I'm going with St. Mary's. I think that they're a team that often gets overlooked because of where they play. And they're kind of a solid school that always produces a good basketball team. So I'm going to go with St. Mary's. And Zona, of course, I'm going with the Wildcats.
Wow.
Okay. UNC. Sorry, Texas. Southern, sorry. Arkansas plays basketball, bro.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the other team.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm gonna get an upset here. I think Tennessee is gonna have another decent run this year. So I know that you love Minnesota, but I think Minnesota is too cold.
Man, you're putting some disrespect on their names, man. All right.
Butler is always a solid team. Doesn't make many mistakes. I got to go with Butler. Cincinnati versus, I think it's Wake Forest or Kansas State. I'm going to go with Wake Forest to advance through. I think they're a strong team that kind of got a bad seeding. And I just think, Wake Forest is going to be a surprise team. And I've never been a big believer in Cincinnati any year, basically. Does Cincinnati even produce winning teams in any sport? Let's just continue on. UCLA, easy. Wichita State, I agree with what Dylan said. I think they're a team that can do some damage in this tournament. That is an upset. I have a lot of upsets in the first round, but let's just go with it. Kentucky is going to beat Northern Kentucky. Simple as that.
Sorry, you Northern Kentuckiers.
Okay, Villanova versus Wisconsin. I could go, sorry, Sage, but I got to go with Villanova. All right. I'm sorry. UNC Wilmington versus Florida. Got to go with Tim Tebow.
All right.
Continue on.
That's not my reasoning, but okay.
Yeah, they're a better basketball team. SMU versus Baylor. This is where Baylor chokes. SMU will continue their hot streak and get into the next round.
You're right.
Marquette versus Duke. Sorry, man, but I got to go with Duke. Duke has the cooler stuff. They have a better coach, and they're just a more prestigious school with a history of good basketball teams. So I'm going to go with Duke. Kansas versus Miami with, the U. I got to support them, but I think Kansas is just too strong for them. At the end of the day, this could be a very exciting game, but I'm going to go with Kansas. Purdue versus Iowa State. I think Purdue is going to give Iowa State some problems. I'm going to pick Purdue here.
Whoa. All right.
Yeah, bro. I got to differentiate from you.
Yeah.
Rhode Island versus Oregon. I'm going to go with Chip Kelly's Ducks.
Ooh.
Michigan Wolverines versus Louisville. Louisville is typically a very strong team. Obviously, the 2 seed here, but I think Michigan's going to get the upset. Like I said, Logan came out. No, just kidding. But Michigan is one of my teams, if not my team. So I got to support them at least this far to get there. I think they are one of the stronger teams of the last couple of years. So I'm going to have Michigan go to the next round. UNC, simple as that. This one too, I don't think Tennessee's got 2. I don't think they have 2 upsets in them. I'm going to go with Butler. Butler is just a team that's very safe. A lot of people overlook them. UCLA versus Wake Forest. I'm going to go UCLA. I think, I'm a believer as well with Dylan. I think they have a great offense, and that's going to carry them a far way. Kentucky versus Wichita State. Kentucky overall better team. That will set up Kentucky versus UCLA in the next round. Then we go to Gonzaga versus Northwestern. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. Gonzaga, again, I think Northwestern, that's where their Cinderella story ends. That might be a decent game there, but Gonzaga is just going to overpower them. Notre Dame versus West Virginia. I have a feeling about Notre Dame, bro. I know they have all the white boys, but, you know, let's just continue on with Notre Dame.
Ooh, okay.
Xavier, FSU, da, na, na, na. Okay. St. Mary's versus Arizona. Sorry, St. Mary's. I got you through the first round. Not even Dilly Vanilli did that. I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Okay, so let's go to Villanova versus Florida. This, I think, will be a close game, but at the end of the day, Villanova, the favorite, will take it.
All right.
Then we have Kansas versus Purdue. Same thing here, 1 versus 4, 1 versus 4, but Kansas will take it as well and advance. SMU versus Duke. I think SMU, these are two of the teams that are playing the best basketball at the moment. I think Duke is the team with the better coaching and more experience. I'm going to go with Duke. Michigan versus Oregon. This is where my Wolverines end. I think Oregon has a very strong team and has a great, you know, high-powered offense. So I'm going to go with Oregon. So there we go. That's right there. Kansas versus Oregon, Villanova versus Duke. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Ooh.
Gonzaga versus Notre Dame. This is where the white boys stop and lose to the other white boys. Gonzaga.
What are white boys in college basketball?
FSU versus Arizona. This one's really close. I could go either way here, but I'm more of an Arizona fan, so I'm going to go with Arizona. That's totally a casual answer, but I'm going to go with Arizona there. Kentucky versus UCLA. Again, I agree with Dilly Vanilli. I think he has something with this UCLA team. They have probably the best player, so I think that's, you know, a good thing right there. The Butler versus UNC. This is where Butler ends. I think they come up against a team that is equally as, you know, disciplined as them and more talented. I think UNC takes it. So Gonzaga versus Arizona, UNC versus UCLA. Let's go right here. Villanova versus Duke. Villanova will get upset by the Blue Devils. Duke is a strong team, again, with a great coach, and I think that they've been playing the best basketball right now. I'm going Duke. Oregon, Kansas. Kansas, very strong team. I think they're going to contend for a championship, and they're going to move on to the next round. So it'll be Kansas and Duke.
I will say, I always feel that Kansas chokes in these situations. They
do. Gonzaga versus Arizona, UNC versus UCLA. I'm going to go with Gonzaga. Again, I got to support my Canadian heritage, even though I don't know if there's a Canadian on the team this year. They usually give, you know, some of those Canadians, like Olynyk on the Celtics, some love. UCLA versus UNC. I'm going to go with UCLA. I'm going to continue with Dylan's trend. I think that they're a team that, again, just this offense is going to be tough to stop. UNC, at the end of the day, like Dylan said about Kansas, they're a team that I usually see that chokes in the wrong time. So I'm going to go with UCLA. Right here, Kansas versus UCLA, Duke versus Gonzaga. I think I'm going to take Gonzaga just barely over Duke. Ooh. I'm more of a fan of Duke, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga there. And I'm going to go again with another number one, Kansas.
Wow. Kansas, 1 versus 1.
1 versus 1. Kansas versus Gonzaga, bro. That's what I'm doing right there. Gonzaga, I think these are the two strongest teams in the tournament, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to pick Gonzaga. Whoa! Finally, they're finally going to do it, Dylan. They're finally going to do it.
Wow.
I'll just do a random score. I'll do 83-80. Whoa! Let's just say on the last shot of the game, Gonzaga wins.
Exactly like last year. Unfortunately for us, we're not going to be able to cover that national championship game because we'll be in Florida. Hopefully, Adam can do it for us. We'll see. Maybe.
Yeah. He'll probably be betting on it. So
yeah, that's true. However, that doesn't mean we won't have any March Madness coverage. I will be covering some games on Thursday. Whether that be one big game that happened like, oh shit, a big like 3 or something, or maybe like day 1 of the tournament. We'll see. So stay tuned for that. I will be. I have pretty much an open schedule this week with a couple of work days in between. So I'm going to try my best to get some March Madness stuff out there with a couple weeks before, the big championship game and everything. So there's our picks. If you agree with them, of course, I know not everybody's going to agree with them. Somebody in the comment section was saying Maryland all the way. So we're not really we're not going to agree with everybody.
Especially with college sports, it's a lot more fan-based driven. So if I didn't pick your team, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just a casual fan of college basketball. I was just picking with my heart mostly. So I did a little research and trends and stuff, but mostly with my heart. I hope you guys enjoyed. From Dilly, from Mitch. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe for more sports content. We do actually know some things about sports, guys. You can check out our NFL videos.
We know a lot about that. You
can check out our NHL videos. You can check out our NBA content. We also have WWE on here. So if you're a fan of any of those things, make sure you check out our content and subscribe to the channel. From Dylan and Mitch, it's The Bottom Line View. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.
Peace.